Today's is an extension of what we did yesterday. Yesterday you did the molarity or the concentration working with solids. Now you're going to be working with liquids. So let's move this for a little bit. Your formula that you're going to be using today is M1 V1 equals M2 V2. Okay? And this is something that we use all the time. Just the other day, one of the teachers asked me, Betty, we only have a 6 molarity hydrochloric acid, and I need a 1.5. How can I do that? Well, my original is 6 molars, and I need to know how many milliliters I need to make or pour out to make her 1.5. So my answer to her is, how many milliliters or liters do you need? And she said, well, I need about 200 milliliters. And I ran out of space right there. Okay. So you see how my only variable missing is the V2? You're basically solving for X. That's it. You're looking for a variable. Okay, so my high concentration liquid is the 6 molarity. And I need to figure out how many milliliters of that 6 molarity I need to put into my 200 milliliters with distilled water to mix and get that 1.5 molarity. So I'm solving for X. I want the V2 by itself. I'm going to divide by 6 molarity because that's going to cancel my molarity there. What I do to one side, I what? I have to do to the other. Very good. So you're going to take that 1.5 times 200, what, 300? That 300 divided by 6 is going to give me how many milliliters that I need of that 6 molarity? Yep, you're going to have 50 milliliters. And that's it. So I take those 50 milliliters and I pour it into my 200 milliliter volumetric flask along with my water. I mix it, and now I've got my new molarity of the 1.5. Okay? And that's how we make your chemicals when we use the stuff for lab, right? Okay, so now how do you do this with your word problems? Let's go ahead and, you know what, let's go to the other worksheet. On this one, do number 1, and tell me what it is.
What number did you do?
Yes. Huh? We did the flip side, but it was number 3. Okay? So now on this side, tell me what the answer is. Right there. Okay. Over here on this one, this is going to be M1. This is going to be V1. This is going to be V2. Okay? Go ahead and label it when you have a problem. You know what? Let's use a different problem, though. Let's use a different one. Let's use this part. Okay. So here, you see this little word of right here? Anytime you have that little word of, that means that these two are linked together. So when you're doing your formula, your M1 V1 equals M2 V2, really this is normally it's an acid-base reaction and you're neutralizing. But you're going to pick whichever side. So do you want it to be on the 1's side or do you want it to be on the 2's side? Pick one. The 2's? Okay, so this would be my M2. This will be my V2. You see how I have this molarity? This will be my M1. Okay, so I'm looking for V1. So now all you're going to do is you're going to plug in. My M1 is 0.085 molarity, and I'm looking for V1, right? Now that little of means that these two go together on either side. They're on the same side. So my M2 is what? 35.9 molarity, very good. And my V2 is what? The 15 milliliters. Now, unlike yesterday, remember yesterday we were working only with liters, right? Today, as long as you have milliliters on both sides or liters on both sides, it doesn't matter whether you have liters or milliliters. As long as you have the same unit. Let's put the phone down. Okay, and let's pay attention. All right. So now everything's filled in to my formula. Can I solve now? Yes, because you're just basically solving for x. I'm looking for the V1, right? So to do that, I'm going to divide by what? By the 0.085 molarity, right? Because whatever is with that empty variable, that's what you're gonna divide by. That way you can cancel out. Okay, so 0.085 molarity. That cancels out the molarity, and your answer will be in milliliters, correct? So what's my next step there? How are you going to solve this problem? What are you going to do? 35.9. Yep, very good. 35.9 times the 15 equals, and you're going to divide by the 0.085. What does that give me? What's my answer? Guys, get the calculator out and let your fingers do the walking. 35.9 times 15.
Divided by 0.538.
538.5.
Wait, I still have to divide.
6,335.99.
6,000.
335.
Yeah, I got that. I got 6,000.
Okay, 35.9 times 15 is how much?
538.
And then you divide it by 0.085.
Yes.
And then you got what?
6,335.
Okay, let me look at that. Not just because a lot of people got the same thing means it's right. But, yeah, you guys are right. You're right. Okay, so it's 6,335. And you can round it off to 0.3, and that's your milliliters. Okay? That's your whole answer. Okay? So do number 1 on this other side, on this side, and tell me what your answer is. Do number 1 on this other side.